Olay.
Yay. What's going on, good people?
Live from the coconut tree.
Back at it. What's going on, y'all?
What's going on, y'all? Hey,
So what is this? What we got up now?
I want y'all to, when you get some time, go over to Liberal Hive Mind. He produced some good content. So on this one, it's Tucker Carlson reveals the truth everyone is afraid of. And I really want to hear what they're saying on this. And I saw, like I said, I like to look at it a little bit. I don't like to look at them all the way through, but enough to say, okay, this is something good we need to react to.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
I'm so glad that we're finally having a conversation about this again. You know, too often our narrative's set, the majority of the population simply just buys it and runs with it, and then the media circus, the news cycle, moves away, and it's simply a story of the past, forgotten in time. Well, you know, maybe sometimes it's a good idea that we revisit things, that we go back a little bit and ask ourselves a very important question: did we get it right? Because in some cases, the ramifications can be pretty extreme. And in this case, we're talking about people's lives. One man, Derek Chauvin, was pretty much sent away for life, with one other officer who was simply present on the scene during the day being sentenced to 5 years alongside him. Maybe, just maybe, we should be asking questions. Did we get it right? Tucker Carlson, with his latest segment on X, asks that exact question. Let's take a look and have a conversation. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so Tucker Carlson breaks the internet, reviving the topic.
It could be time to revisit some of the other slogans we've been assured are true and ordered to repeat. Are they in fact true? Did, for example, a racist white cop actually murder a man called George Floyd, a civil rights leader, in Minneapolis on Memorial Day of 2020? Now, we've been told that happened, told it relentlessly for more than 3 years. So at this point, we've been told it so much that pretty much everybody seems to believe it. And because everyone does kind of believe it, a small group of people has been allowed to make massive changes to American society. They include, but are not limited to, decriminalizing stealing, defunding the police, adding a new federal holiday to the calendar called Juneteenth, the ceasing of hiring all white men in corporate America, and of course, significantly, they also sent a cop called Derek Chauvin to prison for more than 40 years. He would be the racist white devil who murdered George Floyd. But the question is, did he actually murder George Floyd? And the answer is, well, no, he didn't murder George Floyd. We're not guessing about that. We know it conclusively thanks to a new court case now underway in Hennepin County, Minnesota. The case was brought by a prosecutor there called Amy Sweezy. She's suing her boss. So the case is not actually about George Floyd or Derek Chauvin, but it tells you an awful lot about both of them. In her deposition, which you should read, Amy Sweezy describes a conversation that she had with the county medical examiner, Andrew Baker, right after George Floyd died. Quote, "I called Dr. Baker early that morning to tell him about the case and to ask him if he would perform the autopsy on Mr. Floyd." Sweezy recalls all this under oath in the deposition. Quote, "He called me later in the day on that Tuesday, and he told me that there were no medical findings that showed any injury to the vital structures of Mr. Floyd's neck. There were no medical indications of asphyxia or strangulation."
See?
Wow.
Oh.
Right.
In other words, George Floyd, according to the official autopsy, was not murdered. He died instead of what we used to call natural causes, which in his case would include decades of drug use, as well as the fatal concentration of fentanyl that was in his system on his final day.
Didn't Candace Owens report about this?
Yeah. And apparently, no, but she you talking about recent or in the past?
In the past.
Yeah, but then now they've come and they have the everything.
Right.
And it was just recently, after the last week ago, found out for sure that he was not murdered. And the man had so much fentanyl going through his blood. I think basically what he did, he overcharged his heart.
Yeah.
Between the drugs and the anxiety and the heart problem. Because I bet if they look at his echocardiogram or something, or they look at the heart, that heart probably was large. You know, it was probably no telling, what capacity or percentage that heart was running at.
Right.
But yeah, the whole time, and then the world moves on and don't act like they don't want to go back and resurface and talk about it. Here's the truth.
Yeah. Right.
Here's the truth.
So this was not a killing. It was yet another narcotics OD in a country that records more than 100,000 of them every year. The medical examiner clearly understood that and, in fact, articulated it. And Sweezy explains. He said to me, she recalls in the deposition, Amy, what happens when the actual evidence doesn't match up with the public narrative that everyone's already decided on? And then he said, quote, "This is the kind of case that ends careers."
Wow.
Yeah.
In other words, everyone lied about it
Career
from the
ending
very
for sure.
beginning. Wow. The people who knew the truth hid the truth and allowed the revolution to proceed. Now they've been exposed. Now we know the truth.
Yep.
What happens next?
Right.
Well,
Nothing.
they're going to ignore it. The Biden administration just issued a long purple statement celebrating George Floyd's birthday. He's
That's
a martyr.
horrible.
Despite the fact
Because the cop that's in jail now for 40 years,
Thing.
that's his life is, I mean,
It's over. It's
but
over.
that they need to be able to appeal it. You think he's going to be able to do that?
I think it will be, but I don't think it's gonna be anytime soon. It's gonna be like life that moved on. People forgot about it. It'd be 10 years from now, kind of thing.
Wow.
fact, we know that he was not murdered. And by the way, Derek Chauvin is still languishing in jail for the rest of his life.
Why is it always and only Tucker who seems to be the only one with the balls to ask these kinds of questions?
Right.
Every other mainstream drone continues to remain silent. It's an absolute disgrace considering somebody's life is on the line. Somebody
Right.
who is possibly innocent. And yes, that is a real concern. That's not a conspiracy theory. I'm not making that statement because I'm a racist. Not at all. It's just that, you know, this document kind of exists. This is an official George Floyd autopsy.
Look at it.
Quote, no life-threatening injuries identified. No facial, oral mucosal, or, I'm gonna butcher this, conjunctival petechiae. Please don't laugh at me, I didn't go to med school. No injuries of anterior muscles of neck or laryngeal structures.
See?
No scalp, soft tissue, skull, or brain injuries. No chest wall soft tissue injuries, rib fractures, other than a single rib fracture from CPR, vertebral column injuries, or visceral injuries. Incision and subcutaneous dissection of posterior and lateral neck, shoulders, back, flanks, and
None of
buttocks
it.
negative for occult trauma. Then on the toxicology report, blood, drug, and novel psychoactive substances screen. Fentanyl, 11 nanograms per milliliter. Norfentanyl, 5.6 nanograms
He
per
was
milliliter.
high as a kite.
As well as 19 nanograms per milliliters of methamphetamine. The guy
Wow.
was literally on a deadly fentanyl dose.
Yeah.
A deathly cocktail of substances.
Super
Based
high.
on very
He was super
basic
high.
research, you'll find this exact number online everywhere. Quote,
that.
the estimated lethal dose of fentanyl in humans is 2 milligrams. George Floyd had 5 times the average lethal dose in his system. And anybody who
Wow.
understands what a fentanyl or an opiate overdose is, you essentially stop breathing and die of suffocation. You know, shouldn't we be asking these questions? Shouldn't we be a little bit curious? Now, of course, there were 2 conflicting autopsies, but again, shouldn't we be asking the question, where did this come from? Why was one autopsy prioritized over the other? And just considering the
Right.
fact that this guy had 11 nanograms of fentanyl in his bloodstream, just based on that alone, don't you think that there's a little bit of doubt as to what was the actual cause of this individual's demise? It's not like I have a horse in this race. It's not like I have any personal interest or personal connection to Derek Chauvin or the individuals around him, but I just can't seem to understand considering all the facts that came to light regarding this case, not to mention the video evidence, which spawns so many other questions, like the placement of Derek Chauvin's knee. It never actually seemed like his knee was ever on George Floyd's neck, but rather on his back or his shoulder
It
blade.
was.
Some of the quotes and some of the things that George Floyd
Well, I
was
don't know
saying
that
before
part,
Derek
but-
Chauvin even
No, if you go back and look at it, it was on the that shoulder blade. It was like it was here,
okay.
but it wasn't here. It wasn't here. It was here.
Well, it looked like from the view that we saw, it was on the neck.
Because I would have think if you would have been in somebody's neck, that heavy of a man on somebody's neck, when you'll crush their spine.
That's what I was thinking.
and had him on the ground. You know, major question marks, major issues that bring in a whole lot of confusion. I don't understand considering everything that we saw and considering this deadly cocktail of extremely powerful substances, how a jury could have possibly come to a unanimous decision in reaching a verdict of guilty in this
Right,
case.
exactly.
Intentional homicide, as if the intention was to take his life. Not manslaughter, but rather murder. It's incredibly confusing. And again, the point that I was making is that I don't have a personal personal connection to Derek Chauvin, but I do have a personal connection to, I don't know, the truth, or not finding somebody guilty and sending them essentially to life in prison when there's such a major red flag in the case. Just the fact that George Floyd had fentanyl in his system in the first place, in my opinion, is enough to throw the facts of this case in the air entirely. And I think about this case constantly. In fact, not too long ago, maybe.
And look, he had fentanyl, norfentanyl, whatever that 4-ANF is, methamphetamine, all these hydrons, and then a continine positive, and he had caffeine.
I mean,
Your heart was
I know.
Bow.
It's like, what in the world?
That heart was going nuts that whole time when he was in there kicking in that police truck.
And that was,
his heart was going crazy.
yeah.
Maybe a week and a half ago, I tweeted this. I released this on the 12th of October. I still can't wrap my head around the whole George Floyd thing. This was before Tucker Carlson's X segment. I think about it all the time, and it's confusing to me why other people don't. Politics and narrative farming, in this particular instance, seems to have taken precedence above basic curiosity for the truth. That's what I find so odd. You know, it's not a political stance. It's a simple question. Did we get this one right? Or is it possible that an innocent man is now rotting behind bars unjustly for the sole purpose of supposed police reform and demonizing police officers trying to do their job? Well, like usual on videos like this, I'm curious what your opinion is. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a
That's sad.
like and subscribe to the channel if you feel like it. Thanks for watching, and
That is sad. It's horrible.
It's messed up. But you know what? I mean, I'm not saying that that's any better, but you know, a lot of black men have been in jail for long periods of time for crimes that they were later what's the word?
But the problem was with those, they weren't as televised.
True, were exonerated for.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't all the ones that were in there. It wasn't as televised. This was the most massive event that happened,
But I
even
hope-
over remember the Rodney King and all that stuff. It smoked all that stuff.
I just hope that now this evidence is out, they're going to at least revisit the officer situation and the other person that was there with him.
Yeah.
Because now you have the facts and the truth.
What you gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah. And I know, there's going to be somebody out there that's going to say something opposite of what the autopsy is. Because,
It's always somebody from the left
that people
I
just
can't
think
accept it.
it's, something just, oh my gosh, they're making this up. Don't believe that.
Yep.
But, based off what he said, how is it that we have this information now and you've already sentenced these people?
Mm-hmm. What do you do?
Yeah. What do you do?
And he already said nothing. Not going to do anything. I believe the man eventually get appealed down the line, and a lot of his life is gone. Plus, but I also heard too, I'm going to just say this just to be, counter. That officer wasn't a good officer anyway. Although he did not kill George Floyd, I heard he was known for doing dirt around the hood. So I think, is it you put out, what's the word? What's the proverb for that? You reap what you also might reap what you sow.
Yeah.
And then that happened. That one event could have been God dealing with you for things that you might have done dirty in the past. But he didn't kill him. But he wasn't a good guy either.
You can pick the sin, but you can't pick the consequence.
Right. He an innocent man, but that don't mean he was a good man.
Right.
But should he be sitting behind bars for that? No, sir.
Yeah.
Not for that situation. No.
Wow, man. Technology, things that, evidence, autopsies, forensics.
Yeah.
It's, it is what it is. And now, like he said, all the things that came from that situation is not good.
No. And goofy BLM still tries to come back for him. Nobody want to hear from them. And y'all need to phase out.
I can't
do nothing with it.
No comment for them at all. They're like non-existent.
All right, lead them on to the water.
All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with us again for another video. If you found value in this video, want more content like this, subscribe to the channel, share the video, like it, and come back for some more. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys, and we'll see you on the next video.
We'll see you on the next.
Yeah.
Bye.